Sharon Ongao, Ramogi TV.
Kowuok e mago motendore gi weche mag siro weche mag somo ne nyithindo matindo e kaunti ma Uasin Gishu. Koro wadhi ane par jot mar jatend piny Kenya. Piny owacho medo siro paro mar gero udi ma nengogi ni piny kama jogo ma ondiki e tije ibiro dwaro mondo ogol atamalo 3 mag osachgi dwe ka dwe mondo onyiewne gigo udi. Jagoro mongirore e migawo mar ute Charles Hinga kaachiel kod jachiw wach e lok tich mar jatend piny Hussein Mohamed otwak kod jofwambo e wi chenro kama giduoko moko kuom penjo ma osebedo kaliekore e wi wachno ma koro ni en achiel kuom gigo ma otwage par jot mar jatend piny, kendo wadwani wadhi ane achiel kachiel winjini kaka twagno medo dhi nyime kaluwore kod penjo ma osebedo kaluwore e moko kuom okenge ma okaw kod piny owacho mar jatend piny William Ruto.
Because they make those blocks, but they use firewood to burn those bricks. We have given them machines called hydroform machines, interlocking soil block machines, so that now they press those machines, but we have still not answered the question, how will they finance? So the housing fund addresses both. Flora, TV 47. I think I've answered the question about the portal. Okay, so there is a portal. The portal, Bomayangu, please, and it is still under construction. So there's some places you will go and you say it is coming up. Even diaspora, those of us who will watch this from diaspora, there is a diaspora tab for you. It is a marketplace for everybody. So we have aggregated buyers. I have over 350 Kenyans today that have registered. And since we started this conversation, we are getting almost 5,000 every other day registering. Number 2, if you're a developer, you also go on Bomayangu. You list your project so that you don't have to leave there and come to the office and ask, Hinga, nyumba ziko wapi? You just go click and you see where the developments are coming up. And then the choice is yours. Where do you want that home? And you tell us. And I think the question about the contributors at the bottom, in terms of broadening. Now, let me tell you what is going to happen. You see, why I am struggling, or why we are struggling with this housing fund, because of 3 things. 1, trust deficit. And I know that question is coming up. It's about trust deficit. So this program, we must put in enough safeguards so that we can be able to win the trust. Number 2 is believability. And that's why we had to do the pilot, because instead of Hinga talking to you, I want you to go and interview the shoe shiner. I have 8 touts who are homeowners in Park Road. Go interview them. Why? Because now it starts to become real. It's not that Hinga is piki ponki anasema huyu ni wangu ama Hinga amepata pesa kidogo hapa hivi anasema. I have no powers to allocate those houses. So it is important that for the people who are in the informal, the minute they see that there is trust, and they need the homes even more, because they're the ones who are in the slums, they're the ones who are in the tenements, they will actually out-contribute us for 2 reasons. A, there are many, because there are about 18 million of them, versus 3, those who are in the formal. 2, they want to save as much, like Kigadi and his team from the Matatu, they're saving 300 shillings a day. You are saying you save 1,000. And I think that is how we're going to broaden this thing. And you will see we will be able to transform this country, because we came collectively together. You people belong to us. Why do we come together? It's because there is a power of pooling money. Thank you.
Yeah, my name is Migago from Citizen TV, and I have maybe about 3 questions. One would be, the social housing program has been used by many developed nations, and for instance, the United States, in New York, Harlem, and Brooklyn, there was construction of various, housing units. But the government also went in to have a subsidized rate that was available for rentals. Has the government considered that as opposed to the forceful, quote-unquote, deduction for you to be a homeowner? There was about, correct me if I'm wrong, about 2 billion shillings that was collected in the previous, from 2018, when there was the 1.5% deduction, but not mandatory, I'm certain. But where did that money go to? How many units were constructed out of that money? And for this administration and what has so far been launched, how many of those units are, what is the progress? And if somebody is to opt in, if the finance bill sails through, and one is opting in for that, how soon can one get that? Because the question that many are raising is, if it is housing units for those that are perceived to be living in indecent areas or informal settlements, if my salary is being deducted, am I top on the list in getting that house?
Thank you. My name is Brian Mushiri from NTV. Mine is maybe just to understand the financial accounting system, because late last year in my senior Chemutai actually reported on it, and we also reported on it, that there was a challenge with the recent project that has just been launched and groundbreaking began in South Sea. LAP Fund is largely involved in that, and we had two companies, the first one being CRJEA, that was awarded the tender to actually start the construction of that housing project, and MS Milcon Limited, that is also part and was actually passed by the tender committee in that particular project. And the latter actually came in with 14 billion shillings, and the one that was given the tender went in at 16 billion shillings. An internal whistleblower came in. We had the Ethics and EACC rather actually acknowledge this letter by this internal whistleblower. So from where you sit, are you aware of this situation? And as a Kenyan whose money is quote unquote being played around with, what is my security when it comes to this? Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Good afternoon. Jimmy Mbogo from KTN. I have a couple of questions. Bwana PS, when we were having this conversation around 4 years ago on the issue of 1.5 levy, one of the things that you mentioned is that the alternative would have been going out to the market and getting about 1.8 trillion. As we speak now, if we were to go back to the market, how much would it have cost to achieve these projects? Number two, there's a time I remember, again, at one of the functions, you spoke about regulating rental charges in the country to be able to sort of remove that pressure in terms of get a number of people who can pay a little more away from the slums. How far are you with us? Have you gone with that? Now, the next question is on the issue of the 7 years. Now, what happens after 7 years? I've been contributing for 7 years. I want to get my money out. What happens after that? Do I still get to contribute afresh? And if it's, again, we've seen this trend where you have been contributing, for instance, NSSF, but then when you go to get to collect your money, it becomes another nightmare because of the bureaucracy in government. And also the status of the housing market. A lot of developers are saying just make the market, make it a bit sustainable for us. Make sure that you zero-rate, let's say, some of these materials, and we'll be able to put out those affordable housing. So what's happening around that?
My name is Elvis Omondi from Biblia Usema Broadcasting. And
From?
Biblia Usema Broadcasting.
Biblia.
Yes. I have two questions. One pertaining to the closest we have to affordable housing units is high-rise near Kibra. And when you look at high-rise, the most prospering business, apart from food, is water and honeysuckers. This is because the infrastructure there was not considered. And most of the people who would want to buy these affordable housing units are questioning, will I buy this unit and live in a place where I still buy water to flush my toilet, or where I still have to pay service charge to get my toilet, honeysuckers to get out there? And my second question is on the 7 years. You've explained a lot the nitty-gritty of this project, but I still don't understand. What is the science behind 7 years? Why not 8? Why not 3? What is the science behind this 7 years?
Let's give another person a chance behind there, then we answer those.
Good afternoon. My name is Fred Muli, Sango FM, Kamba Radio Station. I have only one question.
Sorry, Muli from?
Sango FM. Yes.
Sango.
With the kind of resistance the project is getting from the citizens and also from the other side of political view, does the government have any plans to sensitize on the same project?
Thank you very much. Very good questions. Chumtai, social housing, New York, subsidized for rental. Our plan, 91% of Kenyans in Nairobi, they rent today. 91%, that's our statistic in 2017, so I'm sure it's probably more. Our plan is to subsidize the rent, but through a rent-to-own structure. Okay? That is our plan. And that is why we are saying you will get a home for 5,000 shillings. You will get a home for 10,000 shillings under the affordable housing program at 15,000 shillings. If you're in the social housing, you will pay 2,500 for one-roomed house. You will pay 4,500 for a two-roomed house, and you will pay 6,500 for a three-roomed house. But that house, you will rent and you will own. The question that we get is, why own? And we ask the question, do Kenyans rent because they like to rent, or they rent because they cannot afford to own? And as I said, it's a dialogue, and I'm sure you have the answer. 2 billion. First of all, the 1.5 we never collected. So that's the first fact. The 2 billion that was saved is slightly less. That's what I talked about, the 1.8 billion. Is still in our bank account at KCB. It is still available. And the people who saved there, because the criteria for allocation, because I'm surprised nobody has asked, it is what we call first past the gate. What is first past the gate? One, you must have raised 10% deposit for that unit. Number two, you must go to Boma Yangu and you must fill in. There's certain information that we need. And luckily with the e-citizen, I don't need to ask for your marriage certificate. I don't need to ask for your birth certificate, because all those things we now are going to integrate with them. So you just register and then you start saving. *823#. That is the beginning of that journey. So those who have that 2 billion, and it is their money, that is voluntary. Okay? Majority of them have said, I don't want to take that money out, because now that I see Starehe is coming up, I want to be fast past the gate. Okay? What has been launched? We can provide you through, I'm sure you through your WhatsApp group, we can be able to provide you with an update. But as Hussein said, it's 36 years. 36,000, that is under construction, because please, let's understand, construction takes time. So even when we say 200,000, we are saying we will start 200,000 projects, units, okay? So by the time you start saying you're finishing, maybe give us a headroom of about 2-3 years. So now the first 200 are coming up, and then thereafter you can say there is consistent coming in. But when you're starting from a base of zero, you have to build them. And because a lot of people, the same friends of ours who you invite there, they like to take cheap shots. That akina Hinga watajenga nyumba in one day. What is it? How soon can I get that? The list. Huh? Yes. There is construction that is already going on. So already, please, and we are telling you, just start the journey today. Go and start *832#, start saving your money, and as soon as those units are complete, and continue saving. And remember, the 1,000 is the minimum, or the 2,500, that's the minimum. The more you save, the more it means when the deposit is required, you will have it. So we're just saying, put the kidogo ile amount, which is our off-take plan, but please save as much as possible. Can you imagine down Timogili? Mushiri, NTV. I have no clue about what you've spoken about. That is a private project. I do not have any information. I've heard from you for the first time. So allow me not to comment on something that I have no idea about. Thank you. Jim Bogo. I know you interviewed me once. I think you were at K24 then. Good. KICC. In the Jubilee government, our plan was 500,000 homes at an average of about 2 million plus. It was coming to that 1.4 trillion shillings. Now, with Kenya Kwanza, our plan is 1 million units in the next 5 years. So just double that and add a little bit of a factor, because when we were doing that, steel was still very low. Now it has gone up. But we're doing it via PPP. So we're not borrowing the money. We're not borrowing the money. We are doing what you do every other place. We changa, and we build these houses. And we get other people to bring their money to build. Please don't forget about that, because this will attract foreign money to come into this country. And please, you don't need to be an economist to understand this. This is common sense economics. Hii ingine ni story too. Regulating rental charges. There is a landlord and tenants bill that is before Parliament. It was sent back out. It addresses some of these issues about the regulation of tenants. So it is still a bill, and we hope, because now there is goodwill, it's one of the bills that we can be able to get completed. 7 years, very good question. What happens? You see, if you have not retired, 7 years is an event where you can opt to take out your money. You can opt to transfer that money to your pension. You can opt to transfer that money to your kijana or your msichana. You can even bequeath it to your house help, because amekusaidia kulea watoto, unasema wacha wewe, mimi niko na nyumba, wacha nikupatie. It is absolutely your money. But if you have not yet retired, you continue. But you have an exit at that point. Okay? So you contribute afresh. Collection is an issue. Okay, I think you asked about when it comes to. Yes. You collect. Okay, yes. Collection of your money. So you want to exit. So first of all, let's put some context into place. Number one, it is our desire that you get a unit as opposed to getting that money back. Why? Because even if you own a home today, as I said, and you get a unit that is 60% discounted, it is good investment decision. So, but if you have to take it out, let me put context to you. 2,500 a month in 7 years is only 210,000. That's what I need to pay you in 7 years. 210,000. So it's not millions that you'll have saved. It's 210. For average Kenyan who is going to be contributing 1,000 shillings and below, that is 84,000. Okay? So, and that's why we are saying let's put context. You see, 210 that you want to take out in that place versus getting a unit that is 60% subsidized. The idea is to incentivize you to get it. But however, if you want to get it out, you will get out your portion. The employer portion stays in. Because the employer portion is the one that protects the capital of the fund. So that if now there are obligations for the fund, we are supposed to keep those that kind of money. But after 14 years, you can now exit your employer portion as well, or if you die. So, but if you die or retire, you get both. The employer portion and your portion. But if you want to exit, at the very least, I give you back what you've saved.
Ramogi mano weche madinyi makanyendo ja goro mongire Migago mochung ne weche mag odi chalhinga mabende loso kotenre koda okenge